Welcome back. Are you trying to figure out how to close more deals? Bundling is a form of upselling, and upselling is one of the best strategies that you can use to close more deals. So if you've been hearing about the upsell and you're trying to figure out what should you be offering, maybe you don't have a clear upsell, or maybe you just are curious about the bundling process, this is gonna be a great call for you, and I'm so glad that today's caller brought this question to the table. I'm Amy Walker, your sales doc, diagnosing your sales woes so that your sales can be sick.
Hi Amy, this is Jeremy. I don't have an upsell in my business. I'm an HVAC repairman. I have a low ticket offer, which is an annual cleaning, and then my core service, which is repairs. But whenever people talk about upselling, I don't even know what I could offer. Any ideas?
Yes, Jeremy, you know I always have ideas. I really love this question because there are a lot of ways to create an upsell, and trust me, you want one. If you could increase, and I don't know where your sales are currently at, but if you could increase your average customer value by even 10%, that could equal thousands of dollars more per year, hundreds of thousands of dollars more, or even millions of dollars a year more. So we want to look for this upsell opportunity to be able to get clients spending more with us instead of always looking for new clients. We've all heard this before, but it is so true. It's less expensive to sell to an existing client than it is to sell to a new client. So we definitely want to look at the upsell, and I am going to recommend bundles. I think bundles could be a great strategy for you. There's actually 3 different bundling strategies that you could use. So we can go over those. And I want to point out that the most common way that people bundle is actually sometimes hurting profits. So how to be cautious of that. And then whenever we're talking about bundling, we also have to talk about pricing to make sure that you're actually supporting increasing profits instead of decreasing them. So let's jump right in and talk bundles today, Jeremy. So when you sell a product, bundling makes a lot of sense. I sell olive oil and I sell bread because olive oil and bread go well together. Or I sell eyeshadow, but you know what would go great with that is new lipstick, right? Product bundling makes a lot of sense. Service bundling can be a little bit more confusing, and I will tell you, I totally understand the pain point of having like a client come in and they buy from you and then you don't hear from them again. So then I'm like, I gotta find the next client, and then they come in and then they're gone, and you're constantly trying to replace the client. Instead, what we want to really focus on is how can we get the client to stay longer, spend more. There's a couple of things that I want you to know and pay attention to. The first is your annual value per client. So if on average you do like 1 cleaning per year and 1 repair every 3 years, you would figure out what's the average that they spend per year. And we want to know this number because this is going to affect bundling strategy we use. It's also going to affect what pricing strategy we use. Now, you do not have to be a service-based business owner in order to implement these principles of bundling that we're going to be talking about. They'll work for literally any kind of business. All right, so the first type of bundle is the one that people think of, I think, most commonly, which is the volume bundle. If you buy 10 froyos, you're gonna get your 11th one for free. If you buy 4 sessions, you're gonna, instead of paying $150 per session, you're gonna get to pay $125 per session. So this is the volume bonus. Just the more you buy, the better value you get. The second type of bundle is going to be a bundle with complementary products. So this is where you say, okay, I am going to sell this along with this. Like, it makes sense for them to go together. You want to buy a sales book? Well, you know what would go really well with that sales book is a marketing book. And so we're putting complementary things together, and that's a way it works especially well with products, but you can find ways to make it work with services too. You want to buy a massage? How about a facial? You want to buy piano lessons? How about voice alongside of it? And so you can look at ways to just bring 2 things together, and now you can create increased value and you get an upsell. The last one is actually my personal favorite, which is where you create a bundle where you add a value layer on top of it. So now you're looking at, instead of having to make more products or instead of having to discount, you're figuring out, okay, this is what you want. What if I added this extra layer on top of it in order to make you even happier as a customer? And if we do this right, that value layer can be really, really profitable for us. So the one that I'm careful and cautious of is the very first one, which is the volume bundle. In order to make this work, here's what you've got to look at. How much would the average person spend with you per year? And then what you're going to do is you're going to shoot the bundle farther than that and make sure that you can still be profitable. So for example, if the average person is going to shop with you 3 times in a year, and the average price that they're going to spend is $100 each time, that's $300 is the annual value. So if you're going to take that down to $75, you need to sell enough units that you are making more than you would have been minusing out your costs. Are you following this? So I'm just going to run some numbers and we're going to put these up on the screen here. Let's imagine that your average customer shops with you 3 times per year and their average value is $100 each time they shop. And let's say that of that profit, $75 profit each time. So now we have 75 plus 75 plus 75. So our profit is going to be $225. So what we want to do as we're bundling is we want to move the bundle amount farther out so that it can compensate for the discount. So let's say we're willing to bundle and drop the price down to $75 per unit. We still have a hard cost of $25. So now we're only making $50 in profit per visit. So in order to match, we would have to push that out to 4.5. But in order to be profitable, we'd really want to be doing more like 6. Like selling 6 units at a time would get us more profit, more volume, and build a more loyal customer. So what that would look like is you would say, we do have a bundle where, our regular rate is $100 per session, but we do have a bundle where if you buy 6 at once, you get them for only $75 each. And now you've protected yourself against losing money by discounting things people would buy already. And that's a big thing for me. I don't do discounts on things that people are going to buy already. I don't like to discount my core services all that much either because I usually end up losing money. So in bundling, make sure that you're actually doing the math to price appropriately so that it can be sustainable and profitable and you're actually happy about the results you get. Now let's talk about the second option. Let's go back to this one. This is bundling complementary products together. So the first thing you have to look at with this is, do you have multiple product lines? And if you have multiple product lines, I absolutely love this one because it's going to get people moving and experiencing more. So let's say that you offer a skincare line, but you also offer a color cosmetics line. Let's bundle those two together and give them a better price on one sale because those are consumable products. And if they love them, they'll start coming back and buying more. When we are looking at this model, we again need to understand our numbers because we don't want to be discounting something that they would buy already. That's important. And we really want to use that second product that we're bundling in as a way to move them into a new product line that they'll come back and buy from over and over and over again. Okay, so the third type of bundle that we were talking about is adding a value layer over the top. So this value layer should be something that is not going to cost you a lot in time and it's not going to have a lot of hard costs associated with it. Things that I really love to see here: intellectual assets. So if there is like a digital product or a course or a physical thing that doesn't require a lot of time for you, this is a great way to go. I took my clients to a spa in Southern California and we bought a package deal. And here's why we bought the package deal, because it seemed like it was better value, right? And so I knew I wanted to do massages, I knew I wanted to do facials, but they were like, oh, but we also have this package deal and it came with 3 other things. And I was like, absolutely. I could pay for 2 things or I could pay a little bit more and I could get 5 things, and that makes my clients feel so much more special. So here was the 5 things. One of them was a sauna. Literally, they just got to go in there, sit in there, sweat, hang out. Great. The other thing was a shaker machine that they stood on. Somebody pushed the button and then it literally like jiggled you around. The third thing was this ion foot bath that they set you in and then they turned it on, filled it up with water, and then they left, and then they came back and you had like this nasty, gross orange water. So as we were there, I was looking at this like, this is so brilliant. Everything that was a part of that upsell bundle was stuff that they had paid for once, and then they were maximizing the ROI on it time after time after time again. That's what we want to look for that extra value seal. So what you want to ask yourself there is, what can I do that doesn't take a lot of time, that enhances the experience, that isn't going to be super expensive, and add those in to your packages. Then you don't even have to decrease price. You can hold the price value where it's at, and you can just add extra things over the top. If you are really wanting to increase your sales, one of the best things that you can do is actually work on your sales skills. So I want to invite you to go get a free copy of my book. It's called the I'm Not a Salesperson Sales Book, How to Sell Like a Natural Even If You're Not. And I will drop the link down below. You can go grab a free digital copy. It's going to teach you about scripting. It's going to teach you about overcoming objections. It's going to teach you about your sales mindset, and you want it. So now you know everything there is to know about bundling. The next video that I want you to go watch is actually how to overcome sales objections so that you can be sick with your sales and really kill the deal. Thanks so much. I can't wait to see you over there.